Hello! Welcome to my video. In this video we're going to be making a automated golden carrot and automated concrete maker using the crafter block in 1.21. Now the reason I made this video was because I saw a YouTube comment on one of my earlier videos which was asking basically if I could make a crafting system that would use only one chest for the entire item that it's crafting. Okay, now a system like this is similar to my first video where I showed the 9-barrel autocrafter design. So you put basically the items that you want crafted in order in these droppers, and then it automatically crafts it. Now the problem with this is if you want something, for example, that uses 2 items to craft, so one barrel full of carrots and one that's full of gold ingots, so you're trying to craft golden carrots. The problem with this is you have to split these up evenly in order amongst the droppers, and that just isn't efficient. So what I ended up doing was I figured out you need to dispense 4 gold nuggets first, 4 more gold nuggets for the crafting recipe for golden carrot. That means we use this dropper latch 1 clock pulse multiplier. And so what this does is basically when it gets a pulse in, it then basically multiplies that pulse into whatever you need it at the end. So I put 1 pulse in and get 4 pulses out. Now what's cool about this system is you can actually change how many items come out. So if I have this set to 1, you'll see it only puts out 2, and then you can even change this block for a repeater, and then if you add in more items here, it would extend that multiplication so you get more items. Now this was the basis to all of these that I've designed. So this was my first design of many improvements. The way it works is you put your gold nuggets in this chest, you put your carrots in this chest, or for example there are other items that have a similar crafting recipe, so where 4 of one item would be dispensed, then 1, and then 4 more of the same first item, such as glass and item frames, for example. So you put your items in this one, in these 2 chests, you then just flick the lever and then it would automatically dispense everything into the crafter. And so this does work. It is just a little clunky and big for me. I realized that after building it I could save a lot of space while making this. So then I ended up on this design. So this is what I considered my final design at this point. And so it does work. You put your glass in this chest, your dye in here, and then you flick this, and then you'll see it slowly trickle in. Now the reason it's so slow is because it's going at hopper speed. Once it resets, the crafter gets full. It then gets this comparator output at the signal strength of 9 due to this crafter. It then sends an output through this over to this rail, which then sends the 1 tick pulse through our multiplier, which sits at the bottom. That's this section. Then it sends 4 pulses through this dropper, 1 pulse through this, and then 4 more pulses through that, because it cycles through with this loop, and then it crafts your glass automatically. Now I thought this was my final design, so I moved on to the concrete maker. Now for concrete, we need 3 items instead of 2. So 1 would be for the sand, 1 would be for the dye, and 1 would be for the gravel. Let's just fill these up a bit more. So then the nice thing about the concrete making is it doesn't have to be as exact in terms of the timings. So for this design, I don't even know if this works anymore, but basically I was using 2 of these multiplier systems when I realized, since the exact same amount of gravel and sand are being dispensed, we only need 1 of those systems, so I was easily able to make it smaller just by doing that. So here we use only 1 of the systems, and then again the dye uses a similar system to the glass, except the timings aren't as important. So here, if we turn it on, you'll see it filters in like that, and then if these barrels were, or if the droppers were full, that would craft, and then like that, and then you'd see it redispenses, and then yeah, ends up in the chest. Now the problem that I found with this one is that it's using quasi-connectivity to power these droppers after the system is done. So this observer is powering this block, which also double powers this dropper, which is why you get an extra gravel dispense at the start, which is not ideal. Now, I adapted it to this system, which I consider one of my final systems for the concrete, and this fixes that issue by extending the crafting kind of loop out into this direction more, and I was able to fit everything nice and tightly. And so when you flick this, you see here, that's where your output is, and I've had to use a water stream for this because of just how much this output every time. So from this point, I dispensed the sand and gravel directly into the crafter, not using any hoppers. And so from there, it made me want to rework my initial Autocrafter, because these are going at hopper speed, so the droppers are going straight into the hoppers, which then goes into the crafter. However, this was clearly faster, and I wanted to make a change to that. So with my this is the final design that we saw over there. With this design, it's dispensing into the hoppers and then going into the crafter. Now this is definitely slower, and I'll show you a demonstration in a bit. Now the problem that I had again with dispensing straight into the crafter was quasi-connectivity. The way I got around that was by making this sort of extended system that you saw in that one. I then used this system in that system. And so basically, you flick this, let's flick this one as well for a comparison. You'll see this one filters in at hopper speed, so it's quite slow, and this one filters in at dropper speed, so it's a lot faster. And yeah, I guess you could just tell based on how often they craft that the left one is a lot faster. So basically, it takes the pulse from this to bring up the observer. The observer then powers this rail, which triggers this observer to send a pulse through both that dropper, which sends an item back and forth, and this one line, which sends the dye into the autocrafter. Then the pulse multiplier gets picked up by this observer, which then triggers this 4 times. As you can see, it's pretty much like perfect in terms of the timings. Then we get the extra pulse from right here. So this basically takes the same pulse and sends it back through that dropper. So when this detects that a signal has gone through, it sends another signal through that sends the second round of glass. And so you see the first 4 come through, then the dye, and then the second 4 come through like that. And yeah, that's that's the solution I came up with for both the concrete and the glass. Alright, well, thank you for watching. Let me know what you thought of my redstone and the video in the comments below, and please like, share, and subscribe. Bye!